Hi, my name is Kristen May Altoro. I am from Shawnee, Kansas, but I'm a Bronx native. I'm an actress and singer here in KC. I'm the youngest of five, all girls. So every time I tell that to people, they're like, "Your poor father." But actually, he was just the best. We grew up in the Bronx. Well, we grew up, my family is from the Bronx. And now thinking back on it, I mean, what people think of the Bronx and like what it actually looks like, to me as a kid, that never looked like that. It was always like this big, beautiful place. My parents never made us feel like we were without anything or we lived in the hood, even though we did. Growing up in the Bronx was really fun. It allowed me to meet a lot of different types of people. Every day was just a different person, a different environment. Everything was like a community. I had more of a culture shock coming to here than a person going over into New York, I feel like. But my family is very close, oddly close. People always think it's weird that we just talk to each other all the time. But I think that my family, they're my best friends. My sisters taught me a lot, and I was very close with each of them. And I am very close with my parents too, which I'm grateful for. I don't take it for granted. I know that a lot of people do, and a lot of people don't have that opportunity. So I make sure that I, appreciate that every day. We moved to Kansas when I was 9 years old. I was the only minority in my class. But as a kid, I just never saw it that way, I guess. I don't want to say that my parents taught us to be colorblind, because I don't think that that's a thing, but I never felt different than other people, and I guess that's because I grew up around people like me. So we moved to Prairie Village, Kansas from the Bronx. So you got 7 Puerto Ricans who just got dropped in the middle of the suburbs. And it was a huge difference. I mean, I didn't have friends for a little while. And I think that's because my family stuck together. We were kind of all we had here. I was not the greatest student. I do better at learning things on my own rather than having somebody tell me what I need to read or how to write something. And I slacked off a lot just because I just couldn't keep my attention. What's funny is that, I don't know if you know Jeanette Bonjour. She was my English teacher, and I definitely almost failed. I almost did not graduate. But that's because there was this whole thing of plagiarism. Not me. Somebody else copied my stuff, and then we both got in trouble for it. Anyway, I graduated when I was 17, and I started at KU, and I went to KU for 1 year. I realized that the quintessential college experience was not for me. And, I was on academic probation because I was not applying myself. I just couldn't learn in those settings. I needed to be in a more intimate setting if I was going to learn anything. And at the same time, I was just like super depressed. It was my first time away from home, even though it was like 40 minutes away. But it was a big thing for me, and I wasn't part of the college party crowd, so I was always by myself in my dorm. So huge like moment of depression. I came home and told my parents that I would like to work full-time instead and go to Johnson County Community College, which is an amazing school. And they were really against it at first, and they were like, "There's no way you're gonna drop out of college. Like, this is what we came here for, for you and your sisters to do this." All my sisters had already graduated, and this was what they wanted for me. And I was like, okay, well, surprise, I already dropped out, so I'm here. And all my things are in the car. And that actually put a giant rift in my family for a while. When I dropped out, I didn't talk to my parents for weeks, actually. Just because of that, like, familial disappointment, because they wanted so badly for us to have what they didn't, you know? And so as I'm older, I look at it and I understand, you know, where their disappointment was, and I understand, you know, why they reacted the way they did. And I can't say that if I was, you know, if I was a parent, I can say now that if my kid wanted to do that, that's fine. I wouldn't be upset at all. But it's different probably when you're in the moment, especially for my parents. My mom didn't go to college. My dad did some college, then went off to the army, you know, so for them it meant something way bigger than just like the pride of their kid, like just going to their alma mater or something. I would say the biggest thing that is different than here is like the value of family. I think it is so strange to me when people don't like go all out for every single birthday. Doesn't matter how old or young, you know. Like I said, my family's super close. Culturally, you will always know I'm Puerto Rican, or my family is Puerto Rican within 3 minutes of meeting me. I will make that known to you. I will either tell you I'll be wearing some sort of like Puerto Rico whatever, or I'll just roll up to a place listening to Celia Cruz really loud. I think that my family, my parents especially, made sure that my sisters and I were well aware of who we were, where we came from, and made sure we were proud of it too. Like, that is the biggest thing that I'm grateful for, because now I have something to pass on to my children. The music especially was like the biggest thing, especially for my dad and my mom. So every Saturday they would go, well, not anymore, but they used to go dancing. They used to go salsa dancing. When we moved to Kansas, they went to the Madrid every Saturday, and they would wear their matching outfits, and they would just cut up the dance floor until like 2, 3 in the morning. And I spent my whole life like watching my parents just dance in the living room and like dance at party. Like for the wedding, I'm so excited for everyone to see my parents dance, because they're like the best salsa partners ever. But I think that that's what really made me appreciate being Puerto Rican more, was the music. I don't know if that's because I'm a musician and it drew me more, but also Spanish music helped me learn Spanish. All of Mark Anthony's discography, is that the word? Discography. That's the word. All of that taught me Spanish. So I would listen to his music and I would sing it when I was a kid, all of it in Spanish. And I was like, what the hell am I saying? And then I would like put it in context. I would pull up the little Spanish dictionary and read it. And then my mom would talk to me too. But our heritage like just was never waned. My grandma only spoke Spanish, both of them. And so I would speak to them in English, and one of my grandmas was like, you need to speak your own language. But I understand everything. But I think that the music was the most important, because it showed me that Puerto Rican culture is such a big melting pot of things. I mean, salsa music itself, it's called salsa music because it's a mix of everything. It was actually born in the Bronx in the 70s, which is amazing about my hometown. Also the birthplace of hip hop too. So I learned that salsa was a mix of everything, and then it came from Puerto Rican music mixed with jazz music in New York, and then also mixed with like hip hop, and like all of it fused together to create this sound. And I think that is amazing. And I'm like, hell yeah, like Puerto Ricans did that. That is freaking amazing. It's just the epitome of what a Puerto Rican is in general. I mean, Puerto Ricans are a blend of Taino Indians, Spanish, and Africans. And if anybody like knows the story or history of Puerto Rico, it was classic. Christopher Columbus came over, genocide with the Taino Indians, conquistadors brought over the Africans, then everybody, you know, conglomerated into one, and that's where Puerto Ricans came from. And that's why we're all different colors too. That's crazy. But we're like the salsa of like Latino people because we're just a mix of everything. When I was 19, I was dating somebody at the time. I was like, you know what I really miss? I miss doing shows. Like I miss, doing a musical. I wonder if there's any musicals going on. And I was just like everybody else, obsessed with Rent. And I literally got on Google and I searched community theaters nearby. And the first thing that popped up were auditions for Rent the next day at at the Barn Players Community Theater when it was on Martway and Johnson Drive. And I was like, whoa, that's freaking close. And I didn't drive at the time, so he was like, I'll take you. And so I showed up, 19-year-old Kristen, and I sang My Strongest Suit from Aida. And I remember, because Eric Magnus was there, and that was my first introduction to him, and he was like, you're how old? I was like, I'm 19. He was like, and then I got cast as the understudy for Mimi. But I think that once I got into that show, and I did the show with Ebony Fondren, Linnea McKenzie was in it. Who else was in it? There were so many people in that show that like just kind of expanded my like knowledge of this new world that I never knew existed. And it was like, that's when it all took off. That's when I met Shelby Floyd, and she and I got to sing together, and that was, I was floored because I was like, she's amazing. I mean, and I'm up here with her, like, how did I get this moment to like be up here with like these talented people? And it all just kind of, the rest is history from there. The more people I met, the more things I did, and I was just like, my parents would always be like, you're burning the candle at both ends. You won't stop. And I'm like, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to. I can't stop. And I think a lot of it was I was able to sing. Like, for me, singing is everything. And being able to do that and to, like, make people happy when I do it, like, that is a feeling that I will never get tired of. Guy Gardner. He is not only my best friend, but probably one of the people that I admire the most. Actually, probably the person I admire the most. His drive to just do everything greatly is just, it's unmatched. And it's not even just doing it because it's going to be great. He does it because he's passionate about it, and he has a passion for making people look good, making people feel good, making sure that everyone is going to feel like their best self in whatever production he's doing. And that's not just the actors, that's the crew, the band, everyone. And he works his ass off. I don't know if I could. Another person, actually recently, Katie Gilchrist, she just has a heart of gold. I love the way she treats people. I love the way she handles like business with grace, and how like accepting she is, and also how willing she is to go the extra mile to make sure that whomever needs to have their credits or whoever needs to be elevated and seen, she will make sure that that happens. And a lot of things that I've done recently, especially during COVID, like to be able to continue performing, a lot of those opportunities came from her, telling somebody or, helping the decision of me becoming a leading lady in American Idiot, like she makes people feel worthy and valued and respected. And I enjoy watching her give everything her all too. She's a badass. I want theaters to start casting women like me, like in leading lady roles. And like by women like me, I mean, of course, Latina women. First of all, also shows just need to be written more for Latino people. There's no reason there should only be two. I mean, also like plus size women, you know, like women that are not normally seen as an ingenue, you know, like giving us a chance to be that because we can, you know. Oh, my exciting things.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. I also have my own company called La Reina Beauty, and it is celebrating people who identify as female, and just uplifting them. It's about empowering anyone, actually. You know what? It's not even just about females and people who identify as female. It's anyone who wants to feel inspired or empowered. I do a lot of beauty services, and I'm trying to specialize in all kinds of beauty so that way I can offer my services to every type of person. And at the same time, I'm opening my own like clothing boutique. So I just got my retail permit for that this week, and I'm very excited. And before I got here, actually, I was shopping for clothes as my first lunch. So I'm very excited for what's coming up. I'm the type of person that's like, I think that'd be cool to do. Okay, I'm gonna do it. And if it fails, it fails. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Anything you want to say to this fly? Any final words to the fly?
Stop bugging me. Bug! Sir.
This is a Wendy's.